Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is December 5th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see BC, Washington, Oregon. Here goes our storm system that impacted the Pacific Northwest yesterday, moving across Northern California and weakening as we speak. Some Arctic air is going to slide east of the Rockies here. Weak impulse moves through midweek across some of the Cascades of BC and Washington, mainly bringing some snowfall. But look out across the Pacific here, and you can see some more energy, which will come across Pacific Northwest in the form of a frontal system, some nice mountain snows showing up with this, some valley rain as the frontal system moves across the region all the way down towards California. Then we'll take a look at the extended. Looks like we're going to remain active through the 7 to 14 day period here coming up here. We'll look at some of those impacts as well. We'll also take a look at the extended look out on the new European seasonal forecast, as well as some La Nina conditions across the Pacific and some of the features of La Nina here and how it affects the Pacific Northwest. Now taking a look here, you can see Spokane, more snow coming Thursday through Friday. On and through the weekend, periods of light to moderate snow, winter driving conditions can be expected. Nice graphic here from the National Weather Service Spokane. This is for Great Falls out here in Montana. You can see some of these brutal wind chills coming down east slopes of the Rockies here, including southwest Montana and Yellowstone here. Negative territory here in some of the wind chills, and look it up here, negative 20 possible. Heads up if you're living out here or you're traveling eastbound through Montana especially. Take a look here down through California here, Sierra Nevada, again getting some nice snowfall here. You can see even Interstate 5 through Northern California, 3 to 4 inches there. Heads up if you're traveling southbound there or across the Sierra Nevada, difficult travel is possible. Now taking a look here, this is that system moving down through California. You can see how it kind of moves across the Sierra Nevada, bringing that snow in weekends. And then you can see some of this snowfall here is associated with that Arctic air moving down the east slopes of the Rockies. Will help bring a weak impulse across Pacific Northwest here, some of the Washington Cascades and BC higher terrain. But as we look out towards Wednesday afternoon shown here, you can see the stronger frontal system starting to move towards BC and eventually western Washington, Oregon, front sag south across California here. Nice mountain snows and some valley rains coming up here with this more typical fall/winter frontal system here moving through the area. Now taking a look at what kind of winds we can expect with that. I want to show the timing on this here. So speed ahead, you can see the frontal system moving towards the Pacific Northwest here. Southeast winds kick up across the northwest interior Strait of Georgia here. Coastal regions, Washington, Oregon, Vancouver Island, getting some decent gusts out of here. You can see the frontal system passing across the Washington, Oregon coast as the winds switch to westerly or west-northwesterly behind the front. Strong winds by this point Thursday morning across some of the northwest interior, including the San Juans, Whidbey Island, maybe some of the coastline of the Puget Sound towards southwest BC, Bellingham as well, before that starts to kick off to the east a bit. Now taking a look here, this is accumulated max 10 meter wind gust. I'll put this into motion here so we can see what kind of winds that might bring. You can see some gusts up over 50 for some of the areas, San Juan's maybe upper 40s, Whidbey, maybe some 40, low 40s here for Bellingham at southwest BC, Strait of Georgia. Some gusts up towards 50 on the immediate coastlines of Washington, Oregon as well. So not a major windstorm by any means with this first frontal system, but you will notice it, especially the higher terrain here, some gusty winds and some nice mountain snows coming. Let's take a look at total precipitation expected. There goes that first system still moving out of our region here. Then we get this weak impulse move through on the morning Tuesday. You can see it start to bring some snowfall across the Cascades. Stronger frontal system starts to arrive here. Nice rainy day for the Puget Sound on Thursday. Some of the Willamette Valley. See the frontal system sag all the way across southwest Oregon here, bringing some nice mountain snows like I've mentioned a couple times already across the area here. Nice rain shadow effect for eastern Washington, eastern Oregon with that. But you do pick up higher amounts in the higher terrain and off towards the Rockies. Now taking a look here, total snow-CoCoRaHS ratio. There goes that Arctic system down east here, bringing some snowfall for the Rockies there. Weak impulse across the Cascades. And the frontal system comes, and you can see the snow start to pile up across the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, and another shot down towards the Siskiyous, the higher elevations of BC and the Rocky Mountains as well. Now taking a look here, just highlighting the fact that there could be some refreezing of some of the slush and moisture here west of the Cascades for Oregon and Washington, but we do generally warm up as we go through this week. But east Cascades east, we generally stay pretty cold. So now we're taking a look at the UW GFS model here. Let's go and put this into motion. This is this morning's run, 12Z, so it's hot off the presses right now. You can see the frontal system driving across Pacific Northwest shown here. Some cooler air behind that system there. Storm develops off the Oregon coast here. Bit of a gradient there on the backside there across the Oregon coast and through western Oregon there. Some chillier air making its way down into some of Washington and BC here at this point. Let this play a little bit on the future, a little more here. And you can see what happens. We go from 12Z back to last night's run. So that's as far as the 12Z has run so far. So let's just go ahead and play out last night's run. You can see a developing storm system out here. This is the danger zone out here. This storm develops quite rapidly and bombs out here along the Oregon coastline. Very strong gradient behind it. And the problem with this low pressure system here is look at this gradient it casts behind it. If this low comes in a little bit deeper than what forecast here and this were to happen, it would move up the coast even further. A deeper low will trend north much quicker than a less deep low here. And you can see this gradient behind it. That could bring a pretty powerful windstorm across the region. Some of the European and the GFS have been hinting at a strong windstorm coming through in this time frame. We're looking out towards early next week as of right now. But this is just something to watch. It's purely fantasy for now, but we're just trying to pinpoint some of these details on the potential weather coming up here. You can see that colder air really across BC here moving in behind that system as well. But purely fantasy for now. We're just still trying to nail down some of these details. So let's take a look here at a wider view of things. North America, BC, Washington, Oregon here. European left, GFS on the right, 18,000 feet. General trough and ridge position here. And now you can see that ridge that allowed some of that cold air to spill down over the Pacific Northwest there. Arctic air moves down east of the Rockies mainly. Then comes our frontal system later on through this week across Pacific Northwest. And we start to get a little bit of a disagreement here between the GFS and the Euro. GFS starts to get colder quicker here on yesterday afternoon's run shown here. Still systems moving through on the European as well. Trough remains open here across the Gulf of Alaska and the European, but the GFS again is colder here. So you can see the important differences that do come out here as we go through the extended, as this trough is much further down the west coast here. And you can see the ridging here on the European at the same time. So we're trying to nail down some of those details at this point. Taking a look at Seattle here, the first frontal system moves through here Wednesday night and through Thursday morning. Just kind of blustery here. A few higher wind solutions there, but not too big of a deal. European ensembles do show some bigger windstorms intermixed out here, but purely fantasy at this point. Again, we're trying to nail down these details and get some consistency. Right now, we have none in the models. Taking a look at Seattle, Tacoma, you can see the precipitation associated with that first frontal system, then just kind of a mixed of lower precipitation amounts with some bigger rainstorms mixed in there at times here. We'll continue to watch that. I mean, there's even potential for some colder air visiting the area if you believe certain models over others as we go through the extended as well. But again, we're trying to nail those details down at this point. We don't have much confidence. This is the Pacific North American oscillation on the European deterministic run. You can see we start to come out of this about mid-December here. And again, you usually don't stay in the negative or positive territory for long here. So you can see we could remain stormy here on through mid-December coming up. And we'll watch that as we go day by day. I wanted to point something out here. Yesterday, SeaTac, I thought, was poised to have its sixth straight day of measurable snowfall, and they came out with none. And I found that very curious because they had measurable snowfall on the taxiway and the runway there at the airport, and it was obviously sticking on the road there at SeaTac. I was at work yesterday and I watched it snow, and I could see the tower. I'm about a mile from the tower, and I found it very curious that they did not have snowfall yesterday. I don't know if that was just something that they overlooked or not, but with measurable snowfall on the taxiway and the runway tells you that there should have been measurable snowfall with the tower that is right next to the taxiway there. So I don't like calling people out, but this is kind of important to get these details right. It's important to note that we did get measurable snowfall at SeaTac, and I think this is probably an error, and I think that most people would agree with that. Anyway, looking at the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook here, you can see the Pacific Northwest above average signal there. 6 to 10 day temperature still remaining below normal. Now looking here yesterday, you can see some of the snowfall totals, not huge, but you can see some of these areas east of Portland Metro there got 1-2 inches of snow for some areas. I know Portland got, I think, 1/10 of an inch there at the airport yesterday. And you can see some of these snowfall amounts for areas, especially southeast of Tacoma out here. And I know some areas around here got some measurable snowfall as well. Again, we could use more CoCoRaHS observers here across Pacific Northwest. And if you want to join, go to CoCoRaHS.com, CoCoRaHS. You can click here, join CoCoRaHS, fill out all your information. Click United States, Canada, wherever you may be, and fill out your information here. You pick up a rain gauge, learn how to measure the snowfall and the rainfall accurately. So if you want to do that, CoCoRaHS.com. We need more of you guys out there. Now taking a look here, the European seasonal finally came into my accessibility here, and December 1st. This is for December. You can see the ridging out here, or at least above average heights, kind of highlighting maybe some ridging here across the area, what allows colder air to move down to the Pacific Northwest. And this goes month by month. So we go to January here. Nothing too impressive looking there, but you can see a little bit above average heights there, kind of highlighting that Pacific Ocean ridging, classic La Nina signature. And you can see a little bit more of that ridging here on the December with some troughing, kind of a classic colder pattern here across Northwest North America and through February. Same thing here through March, and then kind of April towards May, things start to change up a bit, and I'll show you why that is here in a moment. So taking a look here, this is hot off the presses as well. We are in a moderate La Nina right now, but check out, we've probably peaked here as far as La Nina conditions across the equatorial Pacific, shown here, December. You can clearly see the below average temperatures across the equator of the Pacific Ocean here. By the time we get to January, things start to wane here. February, March, April here, you can see again waning. By the time we get towards next summer, look at this. This is La Nina conditions here starting to rear its head across the Pacific Ocean here. And you can see the rapid climb out here on the recent CFS forecast here. So yeah, we may be going right into an El Nino next year. We'll have to see how that goes. Now taking a look here, this is the Pacific Ocean here. Here goes Asia. There's Washington. There's BC, Alaska. There's Hawaii. Pacific Ocean is here. Look at this jet stream coming off of the coast of the Western Pacific, I should say. Put this in motion here. You can kind of see the persistent nature of this jet stream here. And that's generally a La Nina signature. We get above average warmth of waters here across the Western Pacific. And so that casts a strong gradient here between the colder air, of course, across Siberia and a lot of Russia here. And it makes this persistent jet stream. And then you tend to get this more variable jet stream downstream here. And you kind of get this ridging here across some of the Pacific Ocean here that allows us to be in this more northwesterly flow here in the Pacific Northwest due to this jet stream being strong here, and it kind of acts like a whip, and downstream it's much more variable here, and we get this cooler conditions here across Pacific Northwest. So that's kind of a La Nina signature here. I pointed that out on Twitter yesterday, the strong jet stream coming off the coast of Asia shown there. Now you can see La Nina still in charge here. This is going over the last 30-day temperature anomaly across the equator here. There's Washington, Hawaii, Pacific Ocean, Alaska, and you can see the above average temperatures here, which kind of just helps enhance the gradient of the jet stream out here across Asia. So anyway, yeah, sign up for CoCoRaHS if you guys get a chance. We're going to be bringing some storm systems through here. We're on a windstorm fantasy hunt right now. Nothing is certain, of course. That's what fantasy means. We're just kind of looking out into the future a little bit here, but it looks like it's going to remain active through the next week or two here across Pacific Northwest. Some mountain snow's coming up with that first frontal system as well. But yeah, thanks to all my new members. Thanks for all of you who are clicking like and subscribe. The word is getting out to people here across Pacific Northwest. Let's keep it going. Very positive channel. It's very fun to watch you guys comment every day. And once things calm down, I'll be doing more educational videos and whatnot. And yeah, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this all again tomorrow and check out and see if we can get some consistency in what's coming here through later on into the weekend and early next week. So I'll talk to you guys then.